The Ordnance QF 25-pounder, commonly known as the 25-pounder or simply 25 PDR, was the most produced and widely used British field gun howitzer during the Second World War. Many also consider it the finest artillery piece of the era, as it perfectly combined relatively high rate of fire, long range, accuracy, the ability to fire reasonably lethal shells, high mobility, ease of operation, durability, reliability, and both direct and indirect fire capabilities. Today, we're investigating the 25-pounder, the British small but fire-breathing dragon. The 25-pounder gets its name from the weight of the shell it fires. The QF stands for quick firing. Its rate of fire, in reality, was not faster than that of other Allied or Axis artillery pieces of the era. However, the gun howitzer could maintain it for a prolonged period. Consequently, many German soldiers fighting on the Western Front also believed that the British used an automatic 25-pounder. The thrilling scene in the legendary film A Bridge Too Far effectively shows the devastating impact of the gun howitzer before the tanks of the 30th Corps advanced. The British Army thoroughly examined the Royal Artillery Corps' combat reports following the First World War. The primary lesson from the study was that the suppressive fire concept proved more effective than the destructive fire concept. The 83.8mm 18-pounder field gun employed during the war provided a high rate of fire, good mobility, and reasonable range, but its destructive power was too limited. The heavy 114.3mm QF 4.5-inch howitzer was powerful, but had a lower firing rate and a maximum range of just over 6,000 meters. As a replacement for them, the British Army initially considered a new gun howitzer with an 89mm or 102mm caliber capable of firing shells weighing 30 pounds, equivalent to 14 kilograms. Due to economic difficulties during the interwar period, development did not proceed as desired. The UK ultimately decided to develop a new design based on existing 18-pounders by converting barrels. Once the necessary funds were allocated, work on a new barrel and carriage for production would commence. This decision naturally led to a reduction in initial requirements. The new gun howitzer would be 87.6mm caliber and fire a shell weighing 25 pounds. The carriage of a late model 18-pounder with a circular turntable remained unchanged. Initially classified as a field gun, the new gun howitzer, known as the 25-pounder, began mass production in 1939. During the Second World War, the UK, Australia, and Canada manufactured over 12,000 units. When the production was ceased, over 13,000 25-pounders had been delivered. During towing, the 25-pounder is attached to an ammunition trailer, which is connected to a gun tractor and holds 32 rounds. It can be directly attached to the vehicle that transports the crew, as well as additional ammunition, spare parts, and supplies. The crew comprises a commander, a breech operator, a layer, a loader, an ammunition carrier, and a fuse setter. The gun howitzer can be operated by 4 people for a brief period if necessary. During setup, the 25-pounder is raised on a turntable with the wheels running along its outer edge, allowing the crew to traverse the gun howitzer 360 degrees. The turntable also directs most of the recoil forces to the ground instead of the spade at the end of the trail, enhancing firing stability. On the rear left of the shield, in front of the gunner's position, there is a range table to determine the required charge for different ranges. On the right side, 2 leather cases are attached, one holds a clinometer, and the other contains a dial sight. At the bottom right of the shield, a metal bracket holds a box of spare parts for the gun. Another bracket is at the trail near the shield, which contains another box for spares. The 25-pounder features a hydropneumatic recoil mechanism mounted beneath the ordnance and a vertical sliding breech mechanism. The 25-pounder fires separate loading munitions. However, to meet the British Army's requirements for suppressive fire, the gun howitzer's design relies on the cartridge case. The crew loads and rams the shell, then inserts the cartridge into its brass case before closing the breech. This design enables faster loading than back charges and automatically releases the empty case when the breech is opened. Additionally, using the separate loading principle and a cartridge allows for charge adjustments over different ranges. The standard high explosive shell creates a lethal zone with a diameter of 365 meters against infantry on open ground. Conversely, it is ineffective against fortified targets or well-dug-in troops. The gun-howitzer is fired either by a firing lever on the left side of the barrel or by a firing mechanism at the back of the breech block to which a lanyard can be attached. The 25-pounder also has direct fire capability. The armor-piercing projectile weighs 9.2 kilograms. With a muzzle velocity of 609 meters per second, it can penetrate 70 millimeters of armor at a range of 365 meters. Like other artillery pieces, the gun-howitzer can also fire incendiary, smoke, and illuminating ammunition. The 25-pounder's barrel life is 10,000 rounds fired with a full charge. According to 2002-2003 edition of Jane's Armor and Artillery, the crew of the 25-pounder consists of 6 people. When in traveling position, the field gun measures 7.92 meters in length, 2.45 meters in width, and 1.65 meters in height. Its combat weight is 1,800 kilograms. The 87.6mm 28 caliber gun has a maximum range of 12,250 meters. The rate of fire is 5 rounds per minute. The elevation of the 25-pounder ranges from -5 to +40 degrees. The barrel can be traversed a total of 8 degrees. As noted, the initial production variant of the 25-pounder, the Mark I, was an interim measure based on the existing 18-pounders with their barrels converted. Commonly known as the 18 25-pounder, it had a maximum range of only 10.7 kilometers. The 25-pounder Mark II features a humped box trail. Its production started in 1940. Later, for direct fire against enemy armor, the UK introduced the super powder charge, which then required the installation of a 2-port Solothurn muzzle brake. The gun-howitzer with this modification is designated as Mark II-1. The 25-pounder Mark III features a barrel with a modified receiver to prevent rounds from slipping back out during loading at high angles. Its narrow carriage has joints that enable the trail to be cranked for high-angle fire. This design eliminates the need to dig a trail pit and is used with the cranked dial side adapter previously adopted for high-angle fire. Its sub-variant with a 2-port Solothurn muzzle brake is the Mark III-1. The Aussies developed the gun-howitzer's 25-pounder Short Mark I or Baby 25 PR variant in 1943. It was a shortened version mounted on a new carriage. Designed for jungle warfare, the Short Mark I could be manhandled up steep tracks where trucks could not operate. In the 1950s, Belgium and Luxembourg modified their 25-pounders with NATO standard 105mm barrels. Developed by Cockerell, this upgrade did not require any modifications to the gun carriage. The UK produced the Valentine tank's hull-based, self-propelled 25-pounder variant known as the Bishop. In the Canadian Sexton version, the gun howitzer was mounted on 2 different tank hulls, the M3 base Ram and the M4 base Grizzly. The Australia M3 base variant was the Yeramba. Thanks to Pakistan Ordnance Factory's ongoing production of ammunition, the 25-pounder has enjoyed a long and illustrious service life. Alongside the UK, Australia, Belgium, Canada, Czechoslovakia, the Free Forces of France, Greece, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Poland, and South Africa used the gun howitzer during the Second World War. Furthermore, some US units were equipped with the 25-pounder, including the 34th Infantry Division, which fired the first artillery shot of the war on behalf of the USA. Even Germans and Italians operated captured 25-pounders. The Germans designated the Mark I and Mark II as 8.76 cm Feldkanone 280E and 8.76 cm Feldkanone 281E respectively, while the Italians called them 8827. The 25-pounder was baptized with fire during the ill-fated Norwegian campaign of 1940. The British 51st Field Regiment had to abandon its Mark Is during the withdrawal. The Brits also had to leave around 718 25-pounders at Dunkirk that year. Despite these misfortunes, 1940 was a successful year for the gun-howitzer in North Africa. They halted the Italian offensive with suppressive artillery fire while destroying many lightly armored Italian tanks through direct fire. During the 1942 Battle of El Alamein, 824 25-pounders played a vital role in the victory by firing over 1 million rounds in 12 days. The gun-howitzer fired 54,000 rounds over a fortnight in support of his 169th Brigade during the 1944 Battle of Anzio. It was also a crucial element during the Normandy landings. For instance, 72 25-pounders of the 2nd Canadian Division fired 193,000 shells from July 20 to July 27, 1944. Canada, New Zealand, and the UK also deployed the gun-howitzer during the Korean War. Notably, the British 45th Field Regiment played an active role in breaking up Chinese attacks on the Gloucestershire Regiment's position during the Battle of Imchin River. Additionally, Australia and the UK used the 25-pounder during the Malayan Emergency. After the Second World War, the Brits again sent the gun-howitzer to North Africa during the 1956 Suez Crisis. During the Battle of Mirbat in the Dhofar Rebellion on July 19, 1972, a single 25-pounder, commanded by a Fijian sergeant, Talayasi Lavalaba, played a crucial role in halting the communist insurgents and buying time for reinforcement to arrive. The Netherlands deployed the gun-howitzer, which they nicknamed Nahenveld, meaning Ninefield, during the Indonesian National Revolution. The Belgians employed it during the Congo Crisis, the French in the Indochina War, and the Portuguese in the Portuguese Colonial War. In 3 wars between India and Pakistan in 1947, 1965, and 1971, both sides used the gun against each other. The Indian 25-pounders also engaged the Chinese forces during the Sino-Indian War. The 25-pounder took part in civil wars in Greece, Nigeria, Lebanon, and Sri Lanka. Designated as G1, the South African forces extensively used the gun, notably during the 1975 Operation Savannah in the Angolan border war. The Rhodesian security forces also employed it during the Bush War. Both the Arab and Israeli forces used the 25-pounder against each other in conflicts in 1948, 1956, and 1967. During the Six-Day War, 25-pounders from 2 artillery battalions of the division under Ariel Sharon's command played a crucial role in capturing the Katef and Abu Aguila strongholds. On March 21, 1968, the IDF deployed it in combat for the last time during the Battle of Karameh in the War of Attrition. During this fight, the Jordanians also used the 25-pounders against the Israelis. Although it was defeated during the 1974 Turkish invasion of Cyprus, the heroic and sacrificial defense of the 181st Battalion with 25-pounders holds a special place in the Cypriot National Guard's history. On July 23, 1974, the Turkish 3rd Paratrooper Battalion ambushed and destroyed a 25-pounder convoy of the Cypriot National Guard during deployment. The Turkish side still displays some captured guns at the Karaoğlanoğlu Cemetery and Outdoor Museum. In the 2010s, the Kurdish Peshmerga forces reactivated several 25-pounders stored after the Iran-Iraq War and employed them against ISIS. The 25-pounder continues to serve in many armies as a ceremonial gun. Additionally, thanks to its favorable features such as its relatively high rate of fire, long range, accuracy, the ability to fire reasonably lethal shells, high mobility, ease of operation, durability, reliability, and both direct and indirect fire capabilities, many of its users are reluctant to retire their beloved howitzer. This old son of a gun appears to destined to remain in service until 87.6mm shell stocks are depleted. The 25-pounder, the finest British artillery piece, is undoubtedly a legend. Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments and shares.